Hey
Hey
there,
there.
thank you for joining us. Today we'll be sharing with you 8 old ever new strategies to get on top. But before then, if you are new here, click to the subscribe button, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and drop your comment. Thank you for joining us.
The first old ever new strategy that can be adopted to be on top is to avoid fuming and fretting. How do I mean by that? When you fume, you boil up. When you fume, you are agitated. When you fume, you display a kind of emotion that will be, restricting people from moving closer to you. And so, if you are able to control that, you will definitely get on top of any situation. For example, if you have a difficult situation on hand and you are able to settle down, think about strategies to be adopted, look inwards and see whether there is a solution within your reach. You try to reach out to somebody that has a better idea. Definitely, the challenge will be solved or will be treated. Apart from that, you are able to face challenges, just as people say, quitters never win and winners never quit. Don't run away from challenges. Sit down and think, well, how do I approach it? What method am I going to adopt that will bring the solution to the problem? There is never a person in life that will never be faced with challenges at one time or the other. So, fretting or fuming will not solve any problem. See it as a situation that anybody at all can be faced with. And when you do that, you apply the strategy that is very right or effective, definitely you are going to have a good result. Just calm down at that particular point in time and see whether you are able to handle it yourself or you need somebody to be of assistance to you. When that one is done, definitely you'll be on top of any situation. This brings us to the second strategy.
The second old ever new strategy to get on top is for you to avoid uptight. And this is the process and a situation whereby you focus too much on your mistake rather than your progress. You see, the moment you focus on those little mistakes you make on your way of being better, getting to the top, you begin to drain yourself of the energy you could have gathered and focus on that task you need to carry out. You see, nobody suddenly becomes anything overnight. It's a process, and that process sometimes means that you commit grammatical blunder. Your presentation sometimes might suck. You might say some things that are just out of it. Mistakes are inevitable part of our life. Show me a successful man that has never made mistake, and I'll show you that man who is not successful. So mistakes are important part of you becoming that which you want to be. So always focus your attention on the progress you are making and less focus on your mistakes. By doing that, you would get on top in no distant time. And this leads us to the third strategy.
The third old ever new strategy to be on top is don't just be better, but get up and have a mentor. What do I mean by that? Who has ever been to where you are aspiring to be? Who has ever done that particular thing you intend to do? What are the challenges they have on the way? And how are you thinking that somebody somewhere will be of assistance to lead you? A mentor is somebody that wants to see a better version of himself or herself. So try to be that person by listening, learning, and acquiring knowledge even from that mentor. When you do that, you'll be able to get better on whatever you are doing. Let's look at ways in which you can even learn. You can learn by learning from yourself as an individual, which means you have made a trial and you have already put actions into it. The result will determine whether you are learning well or not from yourself. The second one is learning from your peers, your age group or colleagues, but that may not be too fine for you because you have the same age range, you have the same similar exposure to life, but it's better to learn from the third one, which is a mentor. A mentor must have seen before you. A mentor must have gone there before you. I've seen further. It's by standing on the shoulders of giants, says Robert Hooks. Somebody that will be a ladder for you must have been somebody that has seen it all. And the experience and the guidance of such a person will go a long way in assisting you to get on top. So, learn from other people, especially those who have seen it before you. This leads us to the fourth old, ever new strategy to get on top.
The fourth old, ever new strategy you need to get on top is for you to make haste slowly. Make haste slowly. How do I mean? Many a times we are so much in a hurry to do that which we want to do that you miss out details. Now, I'm not encouraging sluggard or being lazy or being lackadaisical about that which you should do, but take it bit by bit. The moment you rush at things, you eventually make mistakes. The same mistakes you are trying to avoid by rushing at it is the same mistake you would end up making. So slow down your pace. At least slow down the pace of your tempo. Don't tear yourself apart. Do it diligently. Approach it strategically. Do it bit by bit. Don't forget that a drop of water can eventually make an ocean. So your little effort, your little diligence will eventually make it a successful one. But if you rush at it the way you get it, the way you want to do it, you might end up making a mess out of it. So don't forget, make haste slowly. And this leads us to the fifth old ever new strategy to get on top.
The fifth old ever new strategy you need to get to be on top is to be patient with yourself. What do I mean by this? There is no success that comes overnight. It takes gradual process. As an individual, you need to understand how you work it out. Be patient with yourself. Don't rush because you are not competing with anybody. When you rush, you are bound to make mistakes, and you even, see yourself making use of your energy on things that will not be profitable. But if you are patient, you are able to calculate, articulate, and sit down to count the cost of whatever you are doing. Then along the line, when you need to make adjustments here and there, it will be possible for you. So be patient with yourself. Don't rush. If you don't rush, you will be able to dissipate your energy on something that will bring profit. It will add value to you and even to people around you. With that, you are able to get on top of situations.
The sixth old ever new strategy to get on top is that you need to acquire more skill sets than certificates. How do I mean? There's a radical shift from what it used to be in previous century. You see, in previous century, you have to go to work 9 to 5, and you are rewarded. You get your salary depending on your certificates. Then back then, if you have NC, if you have OND, if you have HND, you'll be rewarded differently. But in this century, the case is different. The more value you bring to the table, the more relevant you become, and the more money you earn. With more skill sets, there are whole tendency that you might not be broke, but with more certificates, there are whole tendency that you can still be broke. What people are after, and in the business world, what they are really looking out for is, what do you have to offer us? Now, if you don't have that value to deliver, you might not be relevant. So focus on acquiring skills, high income skill that are needed more than acquiring just mere certificates, which is just an evidence of you going through a formal learning. You see, in previous century, it's been that go to school, get a job, work 40 to 50 hours per week, get a loan, retire. But in this century, all you need to do is for you to first know yourself, know what works for you, then acquire that high income skill, then start your business, get employee to work for you, take some time off, get more ideas, because there's a radical shift from the conventional. And in this new age of us, if you can't tweak, if you can't be creative and innovative, you might not be relevant. And this leads us to the 7th old ever new strategy to get on top.
The 7th old ever new strategy to get on top is having a workable plan. Do you know, an idiot with a plan is usually better than a genius that does not have any plan? And at the same time, if you fail to plan, in fact, you already know the result from the beginning. It means you are planning to fail. So planning is a very vital part of giving a person the opportunity to be on top of any situation. You plan those things that are, workable for you. And at the same time, the plan must be achievable within the frame of time. It must be a plan that you can measure all along the line to determine whether you are progressing effectively or not. So, planning is very, very important. It's very useful in anything anybody wants to do. Have you ever seen anybody that has a plan to build a house without having the time to sit down, count the cost, the number of blocks, the number of bags of cement, and those things that will be needed before even embarking on it? That means the building will be halfway done. But if you plan and you have the strategy in place, you have the wherewithal to do it, definitely there is going to be a valuable result. So be mindful of what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to execute it, and what will be the end result. When these things are put into consideration, you are bound to have a very good result. This leads us to the 8th old ever new strategy to get on top.
The 8th old ever new strategy to get on top is for you to know what works for you. I mean, always filter advices. On this day, I see on social media people saying that if you really want to be successful, you have to wake up early in the morning or sleep late at night. I mean, are there successful people who wake up early in the morning? Yes, there are. Are there successful people who do not wake up early in the morning? Of course they are. And I hear people saying, reading the story of successful people, you discover that they sleep less than 5 hours. Are there successful people who sleep more than 5 hours? Of course they are. So know what works for you. If you try sleeping for 4 hours and you crash, that's just your own headache. So know what time of the day you are most productive. Know how you can be most productive. Know under the atmosphere at which you can thrive, and stick to it closely. Do not follow the crowd. Sometimes a multitude do not always connote rightness or wrongness. But just identify yourself. Be unique, be different. Study yourself well enough to know what works for you and when it will work for you. So don't forget, know yourself. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you next time. And do well to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, drop a comment.
Don't forget the 8 old ever new strategies to get on top.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ronki.